Hi, I'm Joe Welinske, and I'm the program manager for ConveyUX, which has been Seattle's UX conference for the past 6 years, going into the seventh time that we've run it in Seattle, and that's coming up March 11, 12, and 13. And we're really looking forward to this event. We have a lot of great speakers, and I get a chance to talk to one of them today as a little bit of an introductory conversation. I'm speaking with Lex Roman. Hello, Lex. How are you today?
I'm great, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, everything's good. So I'm at the Blink UX offices on the Seattle waterfront. Where are you talking to us from?
I'm in Pasadena, California.
All right. Well, it's great to have you as part of the program, and we'll talk a little bit about the session in a few minutes. But probably a good place to start is to learn a little bit about your background and the types of things that you're involved in.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm a product and growth designer. So I'm a product designer that focuses in growth, and that's traditional growth of companies. And I most recently was at Envision. I'm now an independent growth designer. And before Envision, I was at a startup in LA called Burner, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's burner phone numbers and burner text messaging. And then before that, I worked in consulting, and that's where I really got involved in growth and data. That's where I honed my interest in those things. And when I was a consultant, I worked with all kinds of companies from Toyota and Nissan, huge companies, Macy's, Deloitte, to really small, brand new pre-product startups.
And what kinds of things have you worked on in those situations? Is there a day in the life for Lex, or is there just a lot of different things that you're working on?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I like about growth design specifically is that it is pretty varied. So you're not just sort of headphones on making mock-ups all day. You're really thinking about how do I get the team involved in, the roadmap, and looking at metrics and thinking critically about how the product is doing, how the company is doing. Maybe you're doing support tickets, or at least sitting with support and learning, ear to the ground, what's happening with the customer. And you're definitely working really closely with product and engineering leads.
And how did you find your way into the UX profession?
So I used to work in set design for television and film. And I had gone to architecture school and didn't love it. And one of my friends runs an agency and said, "Hey, you should think about UX design. I think you'd really spark to it." And I have. So that was, yeah, I'm indebted to him forever.
Well, yeah, that's cool. I mean, a lot of people have interesting stories about how they found the way to where they're at right now. We're certainly part of a profession that comes from a lot of different disciplines. Yeah, I'm sure you're involved in a lot of different things. You've talked with me a little bit about some of your outside interests, but maybe why don't you talk about those a little bit?
Yeah. So beyond my work in growth and in design, I do a lot of work with the homeless population in Los Angeles. And I also do a little bit of civic tech work. I work with one of our Code for America brigades called Hack for LA. There's Code for America brigades in many different cities, not just in LA. And it's a bunch of volunteers that care about civic issues and want to use design and technology to solve those. So I work directly with the homeless population one-on-one doing outreach, and then I do policy advocacy, and I also work on websites and apps that address like the tiniest problems that we're dealing with in homelessness.
Does that get into the political issues about funding, or is it more at the grassroots logistical execution level to support people?
The big focus for Los Angeles is education of the community. We have a pretty unified political will here, so most of the tech projects that I'm doing are about education of the community.
And how about civic tech? What kinds of things would you be involved in, and what could people expect if they decided to join in on something like that?
I highly recommend getting involved in civic tech and getting involved in a Code for America brigade. We actually just had our launch party last night for one of the projects that I was leading at Hack for LA. It's called Spare, and the idea is that people in need can list really simple items that they need that you or I might have laying around our house. So a jacket, a pair of shoes, toothpaste, and then we can donate to them directly using the platform.
Well, I'm glad that you shared that, because I think a lot of people would be interested in participating in something like that. The next thing I wanted to talk about was your topic at the conference, and so you're going to be given a session that is part of our development stream, and that's called the UX of data. So talk a little bit about how you came around to that topic and what people could expect from it.
Yeah, so as I've been doing growth design work and trying to help businesses hit certain metrics, whether it be acquisition, revenue, engagement, which is my least favorite because it's very vague, but whatever a business is after, the thing that always blocks teams is data. You know, if we want to increase conversion, we need to know what conversion is, we need to know where it's being measured, and we need to know that we can trust it. Trust the measurement, right? So this has become the foundational work that I've done at most of my jobs, and I just see it being sort of overlooked and fallen into this gap between role responsibilities. So I really just wanted to reach a big audience and let people know about some of the things that I've learned and hear what's working for other companies as well.
And yeah, I'm assuming that what you're going to be talking about is come out of your experiences in your in the organizations that you worked with. Have there been any particular challenges that kind of sparked your interest in creating this talk?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge is there's no clear role that owns like the trust of data. And someone might say, well, that's what data science does. And to a certain extent, they might do that. But data and the way that you approach data inside your company is its own experience. It's its own product. And you need, all the same things you need with a product. You need definition, you need ownership, you need QA, you need feedback. That's a lot of work to put on the data science team. So I think the biggest challenge is getting the ownership piece down. And that's going to be different depending on the company.
Well, I'm glad you took a few minutes to chat with me, and other people will be able to listen and think about how they might want to use their time at the conference. So we will see you here in Seattle in March.
Looking forward to it, Joe. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Lex.